My fault.
That's okay. If you don't want me in the show, just tell me.
I know somebody in the house with you doesn't want you on the show. I might be doing you a favor. No, I misspelled the header. Tried to go back to fix it,
Okay.
and
You
booted you.
don't have to explain to me, because I'm usually the guy who just looks up the stuff.
Then I won't explain it to you. How about that then? How's that sound? Then I won't explain it. Then there you go. Then I won't explain it. And now for the interminable chore of sharing.
Mike's favorite part.
Now I'm going to wave up my picture right now. Crap. 3 minutes. Because I have to share it to a place where I actually have access to all the places to share, because if I share it straight from Ghost Claw, it doesn't recognize any of the groups or pages, which didn't used to happen, by the way. But, you know, Facebook doing whatever it kind of thinks and feels like doing that particular night. Gonna do this as quick as I can.
Not now.
Sorry, I'm actually a tiny bit focused here, which is unusual for me. Okay, so far. If I can be careful enough, bollocks, if I can be careful enough, I can get through all of them. I'm on you. Oh, wonderful. There it goes.
Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through, but not so doggone seasoned that he won't try something new? A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do?
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you.
But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who brings a job a fresh new point of view.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you.
It's strictly up to you.
Because it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me.
Kennedy, Kennedy, Kennedy.
And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you.
It's strictly up to you.
And it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me.
Kennedy, Kennedy, Kennedy.
Do you like a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair?
We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you cast your vote for Kennedy and a change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Yes, it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Welcome from my humble second bedroom here in the Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these United States, North American continent, Western Hemisphere on this planet Earth. The only one we have, third rock from the sun, the Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. This is going to be Effect Live with you for 21st of November, 2024. I completely had a brain cramp right there and nearly forgot what year it was. Just pretty frightening, kids. That's pretty darn frightening. Welcome. This is TKE tonight for the 21st of November. You are watching us live on the Facebook pages of Ghost Claw Productions Radio, the TCP Media Group, Our Revolution, Pennsylvania, my own personal Facebook, Jeff Kennedy, and of course, our home group Facebook page, That Other Side of Information, which is also the name of our YouTube channel, That Other Side of Information, where we are live as well. We are also live on LinkedIn, Jeff Kennedy, and on Twitch at Jeff R. Kennedy. Invite you to do so. I am still sharing because we had a little fight with the system there for a second. The radio portion of the program, of course, blasting around the globe via GCPR, Ghost Claw Productions, radio.live. Link is in the chat as always. We very, very, very much invite you to please check out the website. It is really quite nice. It is very, very easy to use, very easy to read, very easy to function, to surf, to search. We just very much hope that you'll check it out. You can find, well, first off, you can just flat listen. As soon as the website opens, you can listen. Go up in the right, I think it's upper right-hand corner, you see a little arrow, looks like a play button, hit it, and you're listening. No credit cards, no retina scan. George loves when I do the retina scan. No fingerprint, no blood sample. Don't have to sign away your firstborn. None of that. You can just listen, and we very much invite you to do so. You can also, of course, find out. You can read synopses of all of our shows, meet the hosts, read about the hosts. We just hope that you'll check us out. GCPR, Ghost Claw Productions Radio, .liv. Thank you all for being here. As always, great thanks to George, of course, for being here. It is never the same show without him. We actually posted the program now. We shared it to well over 100 places yet again. This evening, only 2 more shows till the kind of beginning of the holiday season. It is our plan, we stressed, to be with you Sunday for our regular Sunday program. And then next Tuesday, and then that's it, kids, for at least a week, really, till the following Tuesday, as we take a break for Thanksgiving. 2 big stories. There are other stories I know that we will get to. I get it. But there's really 2 big ones that I want to get into more than really anything else. I can already tell you there's going to be a third, because I think the one is kind of a big deal that I don't think we should escape. But let's start with Matt Gaetz withdrawing his name for nomination for Attorney General, a position to which he was never qualified in the first place and was receiving purely as a patronage job. It was mentioned either this morning or yesterday morning. I will freely admit that I forget which day. It's been a bloody long day. On Morning Joe, that if you kind of total up the monetary contributions made to the Trump campaign by the billionaires that he's already at least nominating for cabinet positions, you're in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Linda McMahon alone, who is now the latest choice for Secretary of Education, she is also one of the leading figures in the Trump transition. She alone donated $20 million to the campaign. Musk, of course, his donations are, I don't want to say they're incalculable, but pinning them down to a fine point of a number, if you will, has been proven to be quite difficult. We know that he will be heading up this so-called government efficiency outside government agency with Vivek Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy, of course, has already talked about shutting down the Department of Education. Sounds like Project 2025, doesn't it? Because it is effing Project 2025. None of this should be a shock to any of us. From either side of the aisle, by the way. Got a kid with special needs? Don't have a federal Department of Education? That would sound like how can I put this gently so as not to make you feel terrible? That sounds like a tough effing shit on you. Because Republicans certainly don't care about your child with special needs. Your child with special needs is not profitable. So that child will not get an education. Worried about your tax burden? Wait till the Department of Education is shut down and your property taxes double or triple or quadruple, because all federal funding is gone from your local school district, from the federal government. And of course you could make the argument, well, that's our money anyway. It's also billionaires' money, but they don't like paying taxes. And they sure as hell don't want to pay taxes to educate your special needs child, or your inner city child, or your child whose skin color isn't the same as theirs. Mr. Ludick, who's been nominated to be he was Commerce Secretary, is a billionaire who donated incalculable amounts of money. He's put mega multimillionaires and billionaires are so far filling his cabinet. That's called fascism, kids. The merger of corporate and state interests. It's Mussolini's own definition. He originally called it corporatism. But people knew what corporatism was. They kind of figured it out on their own pretty quick. So he did what good businessmen do and rebranded and created the word fascism. Fascism was much easier for people to accept than corporatism. But we know that what's left of the former political party known as Republicans have completely sold out. Completely sold out to billionaires. They are owned by billionaires. The only things they want to see done are what the billionaires tell them to do. So now, what does Trump do? Puts the billionaires in charge by putting them in charge of all the departments of government. Putting them in charge of departments that they don't even think should exist because they don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to pay any taxes. They just don't want to see their taxes cut. They just don't. They don't want to pay taxes, period. Now, heard Ari Melber say something very interesting. I have to admit that he floated a very interesting thought this evening as I was watching while I was trying to inhale some dinner, stay awake, attend a Democratic committee meeting, and then get ready for this program. It's Ari Melber's conjecture that Gaetz' withdrawal is actually a good sign for democracy, a sign that Republicans are finally beginning to see the light and an end to the long, dark tunnel that has been Trumpism. Trump himself is 78 plus years old, obese, eats nothing but fast food, by his own admission, by the way. He cannot constitutionally run again. He is already a lame duck. Republicans have control of the Senate, but if I'm correct, by 3 votes. 53-47. Their 3 Republican House members have been, well, now 2. Well, no, Gaetz had already resigned, so I don't think they've counted him in the count. 3 Republican House members have already been nominated for cabinet positions, which would cut the Republican majority in the House down to, I think, 3 votes. So Ari Melber was conjecturing, I think I may have just made a word, that Republicans may be coming out the other side here, and that they might possibly be seeing a light at the end of the tunnel by pushing back on Trump about Matt Gaetz, to try to reassert a little bit of authority or self-determination, if you will, over their own former political party by pushing back on this nomination. I kind of hope that's true. Democracy demands 2 functioning political parties. I happen to think democracy might actually be better off if we had 3 or 4 or 6. But we sure as hell need more than 1. So that perhaps they're pushing back a bit. I would only push back to say it's kind of easy for Republicans to push back on the Gaetz nomination because he's guilty of sin. And by all reporting, everyone on Capitol Hill hated his guts, with the exception of a small band of truly mentally and emotionally disturbed people, like George's favorite House member, Marjorie Taylor Greene. So a lot of folks see this as good news. I would say it's not bad news, but I don't know that it's good news either. So let me jump into our first story. Which is, I lost my page. I'm trying to find a page.
Had a question for you, if I may, before your.
Question from the back of the room. Yes, sir. Who wants to clean the erasers? Oh. I just dated myself with that one. Anybody get that reference in the chat? Extra bonus points for you if you got that one.
So
holy shit.
Matt Gaetz.
Yes.
So he's not in Congress anymore.
No, he was reelected on November 5th, rather comfortably.
Okay.
He resigned almost immediately after, because when you're under investigation in the House, the Ethics Committee,
the
only committee in the House, which is made up equally of Democrats and Republicans. One of the great ways to make a House investigation, or Senate investigation for that matter, even a member of somebody who might be charged with corruption in the executive branch, a cabinet official, so on. The easiest way in government to make a criminal investigation go away. The House Ethics Committee is not a criminal body. It's not a grand jury. It doesn't have legal authority to enforce its own decisions. They can recommend to the full House that a member be censured or suspended or committee seats removed or even kicked out, but that eventually has to go to the full body for a vote. So it isn't exactly a prosecutorial body, if that's the right word to use, and I'm not even 100% sure if it is. That said, one of the great ways to make an investigation go away is to resign. This has been a time-honored tradition in government. George and I are both members of the House. I say something to really piss him off. He pulls out a gun and shoots me on the floor. The ethics investigation, the Ethics Committee begins an investigation. The other 433 members of the House say, yes, we saw George pull a gun and shoot him dead on the floor of the House. But before George can go to jail or even face criminal charges, he says, you know what, I'll step down. And then, poof, the investigation goes away. Here's what's different about the Gaetz investigation. The report has begun to leak. If you've seen it on television, you've seen this very corporate-like serial killer movie-like structure of lines and computers and the face of Gaetz's face and his partner's face and the different Venmo accounts as to where all the money is gone that Gaetz paid these women, both for sex and to shut up about it. Gaetz resigned because he knows he's guilty of sin. One way to make a report go away is to resign. And I suspect that from Gaetz' point of view, he withdrew his name for nomination because he knew that report was going to come out. It was a Republican senator, Mike Rounds of North Dakota, a Republican senator, when questioned, told the press, the House can choose not to release the ethics report on Matt Gaetz, we'll just have an investigation in our public confirmation hearings. We will drag Mr. Gaetz, all the people that have investigated him, we'll talk to the women, and we'll put them on camera on prime time in front of the country. So I suspect part of this is that now the ethics committee already met earlier this week and decided that they would not release the report. Because the ethics committee is made up of equal members of both parties, a tie vote is considered a no vote. The vote was straight along party lines. All the Republicans voted to hide the report. My language, not theirs. They voted, technically speaking, they voted not to release it. In this case, by voting not to release it, they voted to hide it. They voted to suppress it. This is the law and order party, just remember. Right? This is the party of personal responsibility, the party of accountability. Bullshit.
That's on Earth 11. Sorry.
That's right. That's an Earth 2. Right.
The question was all right. So the question I had was, he resigned from Congress,
right,
to avoid the investigation.
Because generally, right, the report
now
gets released, the investigation ends, everything usually just magically goes away.
Okay, so if he resigns from Congress, he cannot. I guess
he's
he
out.
Cannot vote. Yeah, he's out.
He's done. Well, that's not entirely true. His term. No, he did. He resigned. He's out. Theoretically, right now, his district is not represented. They'll have to have Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, will have to set a date for a special election to be held to fill the seat.
Can Ron DeSantis put him back in?
No, they don't appoint. They appoint senators. They do not appoint House members. That district will remain unrepresented until a new. All right. That's the way it works in a democracy. How is it going to work under Trump? I think that's not a crazy question that DeSantis could tell the House Republicans, here's who I'm sitting in that seat for now. There is not precedent for that I am aware. Senators, so DeSantis is going to be facing a choice in the Senate as well, because it looks like Marco Rubio is going to be Secretary of State. He has, I think he's got 4 more years. Yes, he does, actually. He has 4 years left on his 6-year senatorial term. DeSantis has the power to appoint someone to fill that term. I happen to think there's an excellent possibility he will appoint himself and give himself a promotion because he's term limited as governor. And his poll numbers in Florida have begun to slip given the very poor response of state government to their dual hurricanes. That said, there's no precedent that I am aware of for a governor appointing a member of the House of Representatives. Generally, these seats sit empty until a special election is held. I think you're right. It would be very interesting to see what would happen if Governor DeSantis tried to take the power upon himself, because I am certainly no expert on Florida law. If he tried to give himself the power to appoint someone to that seat, would the Republican majority allow that member to be sat? Would they be sworn in? Would they act like the member, like Stacey Plunkett from, I think I'm saying her name right, from the Virgin Islands, where she can attend, be a member of committees, speak on the floor, but ultimately can't vote on anything? That's a great question. But it's a very long-winded way to say, generally speaking, you're under investigation in the House and you don't want it to become public, or you don't want to get arrested and go to jail and face trial, you resign and walk away, and you take a 6-figure, 7-figure, figure lobbying job and actually kind of make out a hell of a lot better than when you were in Congress, except you're never on TV anymore.
Now, if he
Randall mentions that he could run again in his district in the special election. True, he could. The ethics investigation would start all over again. In fact, it really wouldn't have to start over again because the investigation's already complete. The report's already been written, and it is slowly leaking. Let's turn to... Did I answer any of that, or did I just ramble for 20 minutes?
You rambled, but you did answer my question.
I'm guilty. Okay. I'm guilty on the rambling part.
That's okay.
Let's turn to the Associated Press. An article posted today by Eric Tucker. Go ahead. What?
I reclaim my time. All right. Goodbye.
All right. Go ahead. The chair recognizes.
No. I'm okay. No, sorry. Go ahead.
The chair recognizes George. Again. No, I'm kidding. Do you have another question, or are you just being... Oh, okay. You got you're funny. This article is written by Eric Tucker, Alana Durkin-Richer, and Colleen Long. 3 authors on this article posted today on the Associated Press. I'm going to put on my newsreader's hat now, see if I can read to you any better than I normally do. Dateline, Washington. Headline: Trump chooses loyalist Pam Biondi for Attorney General pick after Matt Gaetz withdrawals. President-elect Donald Trump said Thursday he will nominate former Florida Attorney General Pam Biondi to lead the Justice Department, turning to a longtime ally after his first choice, Matt Gaetz, withdrew his name from consideration amid scrutiny over sex trafficking allegations. Biondi has been an outspoken defender of Trump. She was one of his lawyers during his first impeachment trial, when he was accused, but not convicted, of abusing his power as he tried to condition U.S. military assistance to Ukraine on that country, investigating then former Vice President Joe Biden. And she was among a group of Republicans who showed up to support Trump at his hush money criminal trial in New York that ended in May with a conviction on 34 felony counts. By the way, it was not a hush money trial. It was an election interference trial. Gaetz stepped aside amid continued fallout over a federal sex trafficking investigation that cast doubt on his ability to be confirmed as the nation's chief federal law enforcement officer. Gaetz, who passed the bar, but barely, worked as a lawyer, had very little relevant experience for the job. Bondi comes with years of legal work under her belt, and that other trait Trump prizes above all, loyalty. The hasty withdrawal by Gaetz and quick pivot to Biondi were the latest examples of Trump's tumultuous decision-making as he rushes out nominations, some of questionable character and credentials, at a breakneck pace without the government vetting that is typical of presidential transitions. It's an omen that despite running his most organized campaign for the White House this year, his return to the Oval Office might feature the same sort of drama that permeated his first term. Even in Trump's world, things moved fast. Trump had been seeking to capitalize on his decisive election win. By the way, I have to stop right there and go off on a bit of a tangent here. Can we stop talking about this mythical, non-existent Republican wave, this Republican mandate given them by the American people? The difference in the national popular vote between Trump and Vice President Harris was 1.5%. 1.5%. You know what 1.5% is of $100? $1.50. What do you buy with $1.50? Not a hell of an effing lot. Republicans will have a majority in the Senate, no question, by 3 votes. Unless I'm wrong, and somebody can Google it and correct me. They're expected to have a 53-47 majority. 3 votes. That's it. And their majority in the House is expected to be somewhere around 3 votes. It should have been 6, but Trump's already nominated 3 members for cabinet positions. Stop letting the press, including this so-called mythical left-wing bias press, which doesn't fracking exist. Certainly not in major corporate media. Am I left-wing bias? You're bloody right I am. Because they're the right policies for the majority, the overwhelming majority of the country. And will continue to be so. But in corporate media? Look, I think one of the smartest people on television is Rachel Maddow. She's incredibly watchable. She's exceptionally well educated and well versed. But when Trump tried to take away net neutrality in his first term, she mentioned it, I think, once. And then for less than a minute. Because a big corporate cable conglomerate owns MSNBC. She wasn't allowed to talk about it. The entire channel mentioned net neutrality 3 times. How often does MSNBC talk about the environment? Corporate media sure as hell doesn't have a left-wing bias. Got off on that tangent, didn't I? Why don't I take a reset and try to get some air back in my lungs? Randall's right, by the way. Mandate was Nixon winning 49 states. And by the way, how about Randall? How about 1984 when Reagan won 49 states? Nobody ever said the American electorate was smart or well educated, sadly. It was a little more understandable in a pre-internet era, but not now. 7:35, and you are watching and listening to TKE Tonight, the Kennedy Effect Tonight, for the 21st of November, 2024. I am Jeff Kennedy, along with George, coming to you live from the Lehigh Valley here in the eastern half of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Our plan is to be with you for our regular Sunday program, to be with you on Tuesday, and then we're out for a week, kids, for the holiday. Please let us be among the first, a week early, to wish you and yours, your family, your friends, your loved ones, your coworkers, and all who are important to you. Let us please wish you a happy, a healthy, a safe, a pleasant, a blessed, a relaxing, wonderful Thanksgiving. Even though Thanksgiving has grown around the world, there are now measurable populations who celebrate Thanksgiving across Europe. Canada, of course, has a Thanksgiving Day. They already had theirs. Thanksgiving is kind of really a uniquely American holiday. And I hope that you enjoy yours. And of course, it is the kickoff to the Christmas season. It's going to be a very abbreviated Christmas season this year, kind of the way the calendar falls, but still, only about 3 weeks from Thanksgiving to Christmas. It's kind of crazy, but we wish you, all of you, every single listener, everyone who shares the program, all the members of our Facebook group, our followers, our subscribers, all of you, a very, very, very happy Thanksgiving. You can watch us live right now on the Facebook pages of Ghost Claw Productions, the TCP Media Group, and Our Revolution Pennsylvania. You can see us on my Facebook page, Jeff Kennedy, and of course, our home group Facebook page for the program, That Other Side of Information. That is also the name of our YouTube channel, that other side of information. We are live on our Twitch, Jeff R. Kennedy, and LinkedIn, Jeff Kennedy as well. The audio of the program blasting around the globe via GCPR, Ghost Claw Productions Radio .live, GCPR.live, GCPR.live. Please go check out the website and join the GCPR family. Following us, we should have checked on that. Following us is supposed to be Superplex Party from 9 p.m. Conversations with T. Nathan from 11. Thomas returns to end the broadcast week tomorrow morning from 8 a.m. Our plan is to be back with you on Sunday from 6 for our big 3-hour program, and with you the following Tuesday, and then we're off for a week for Thanksgiving. Phone line, we'll give it a shot. I think I haven't turned on. I tell you, I keep telling you guys that I have the phone line open, and I keep forgetting to do it. No, it's open. 267-227-9189, 267-227-9189. Let me get to the other big story that I wanted to get to tonight because I think it's a big deal. I really do. I don't think American media, especially following this election, spends enough time on international news. This one I was very, very happy to see today. I've told you in the past that probably anywhere from 4 to 10 times a day, I will get these blindly Zionist posts asking for permission to post in the Facebook group. I deny every single one of them. I have now begun to respond to the people who are trying to post. Hi, Mike. I am now trying to. Is it Mike or Randall? It's one of the two of you.
Randall.
I am now trying to respond to the Zionists who are trying to post in my Facebook group by asking them the question that isn't their prime minister guilty of everything that they are blaming Palestinians for. Funny, none of them have answered. But let me get to this. Well, go ahead, Randall. Go quick, and then I got another story to get to. Go.
Yeah, it's interesting that Hague International Criminal Court, it's not just Israel's prime minister that's up for war crimes. The Hamas leader is up for war crimes, and I can't remember the third person that's up for war crimes.
The Israeli defense minister. That's why I think this is such a big story, is that the ICC did this very fairly and very equally by indicting both sides.
Exactly.
I think that's the big part of the story. Not just that Netanyahu was indicted for yet another crime, but that both sides were indicted for the same charges and treated equally. Balanced. You want to talk about fair and balanced? That was it. Now, before Randall gets into his call, let me see if I can just read this for you very quick, a couple paragraphs from this. Hang in there, Randall. Don't go anywhere. This is written by Brian Mealy, and I hope I'm saying that. Actually, it's probably Brian Melley, Melley. My apologies to Mr. Melley if I'm butchering your name. Headline: Warrants put Israeli Prime Minister and others in small group of leaders accused of crimes against humanity. This is from the Associated Press, posted today. The decision by the International Criminal Court to issue arrest warrants for the Israeli Prime Minister and a top Hamas official puts them in a small group of leaders to be accused of crimes against humanity. I would say leaders is a stretch, but author decided to use the word. The court issued warrants Thursday, today, for Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his former defense minister Yoav Gallant, and Mohammed Deif, a Hamas leader Israel claims it has already killed. A 3-judge panel from the court says the warrants were based on, quote, reasonable grounds that Netanyahu and Gallant bear responsibility for a war crime and crimes against humanity in the Gaza Strip, where more than 44,000 people have reportedly been killed and more than 104,000 wounded in the 13-month war between Israel and Hamas. The warrant against Deif, that's the Hamas leader, again, Israel says it's already killed Mr. Deif, said there was reason to believe he was involved in murder, rape, torture, and the taking of hostages amounting to war crimes and crimes against humanity for the militant group's October 7, 2023 attacks on Israel. Some 1,200 people, mostly civilians, were killed in those attacks, and another 250 were abducted. Go ahead, Randall, take over. Tell the folks what you think.
Well, I totally agree with you that, yes, I'm glad the International Crime Court in the Hague has come out against both sides, because both sides obviously have committed war crimes, starting with Hamas, with their massacre of 1,200 people and taking hundreds of hostages, including Americans, are still there. But I want to go back to something else. I'll have to look this up. I don't know how it works. I suspect each state passes their own laws on how they appoint their U.S. senators. I remember when Republican Senator Hines, here in PA, when his helicopter crashed here in Delaware County, that Governor Ridge appointed somebody, but I can't remember if that person went the full term that was left before that person had to run again, or if it was the next federal election cycle. And the same thing. I don't know how Florida works. I could definitely see DeSantis going to his lieutenant governor and saying, "Hey, look, I'm going to resign. You're going to be governor. Appoint me to the U.S. Senate." The House and the state House and the state Senate in Florida are super majorities. They have gone along with everything DeSantis has ever wanted, whether it's banning books, whether it's the don't say gay laws, whatever. Taking away self-determination, economic self-determination from Disney Corporation. They've gone along with everything he said. So I could definitely see that, and I could definitely see him in aspirations to be a U.S. senator, because that's a road, another road, to be a future U.S. president. Go ahead.
Well, here's the only thing I would somewhat disagree with, and please understand my disagreements are more technical than that. If I understand correctly, and again, you know me, if I'm wrong, I'll tell you. I don't believe that the appointing of a senator from a state to fill an unexpired term requires confirmation by the state legislature. Florida may have that law, but when Kamala Harris was picked to be vice president, Governor Gavin Newsom of California simply appointed someone to fill the term, period. It did not go to a vote. It did not go to Senate confirmation. He simply put someone there. I believe Florida runs the exact same way. Again, absolutely telling you straight away that I could be wrong. That said, I think that makes it easier for DeSantis to appoint himself, because he doesn't then have to go in front of a gerrymandered, veto-proof majority Republican state Senate and have hearings and answer questions and all of these things. They don't even have to go through the dog and pony show. He can just appoint himself. And if I am correct, he has already won a second term. I believe gubernatorial elections in Florida happen on the midterm year, which means that election would be held again in 2026, if we're still having elections in 2026. So and he is term limited. So
this would be a very good time for him to give himself a raise, if you will, in both exposure and money, for that matter, and make himself an incumbent senator for Florida, where they just reelected Rick Scott rather easily, and you don't have to do a hell of a lot to get elected to the Senate in Florida as a Republican. Sort of, Rick Scott, of course, being guilty of the largest Medicare fraud in the history of the United States. And the company that he owned operated, how he became a billionaire, because he stole the money from Medicare. If DeSantis makes himself an incumbent, I suspect he would be extremely difficult to beat in 2 years. It's exactly why I think he's going to do it. I won't be completely shocked if he picks somebody else, because he does have total power in Florida. But I think he's going to want to, give himself a bump up. That's as much as I know about it. And again, like I said, the risk of being repetitive, I could very well have that incorrect. But I think I'm right. So go ahead, you take over.
I think you are right, and Jeff, and it's because of the historic precedent. When the Constitution was written, the compromises between the small states, the slave-owning states, the aristocrats, slave owners. Yes, the House, you cannot appoint the House. That's the people's house. But remember, back then, under the Constitution, all U.S. senators are appointed by their state governors. They were told...
Originally, they were appointed by the governor and voted on by the legislature. Yeah, originally, yes.
Then it was passed in the U.S. Constitution for direct election of U.S. senators.
Right, it was changed.
They were appointed by the governors. And I think that's that way in all 50 states. But I'm probably on.
Well, no. Just remember, it's a very subtle difference. I mean, we're splitting hairs to an extent. You're correct. The original draft of the Constitution had governors appoint their 2 senators. Most states had those appointments were voted on by the legislature, either the full legislature or a similar mirroring from the federal model of advice and consent of the state Senate. But we're talking about unexpired terms here. And I think that's the difference that we might be missing. That DeSantis can simply name someone. Governor Newsom named someone. When Cory Booker first went to the Senate.
And Governor Ridge named someone when Hines died.
Passed away.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. And oh God, who was it? Whose term did he fill? Shit, I'll forget it. It might have been Frank. It might have been Frank. It might have been Frank.
He filled the term.
No. In Jersey, when I was still living in Jersey, I think it was Frank. Either Frank Lautenberg passed away, or it was when Bob Torricelli went to jail. I can't remember. Chris Christie was governor, and he was coming up on his re-election for a second term.
Right.
And the leading Democrat to challenge him was going to be Cory Booker. And one way that Chris Christie could get rid of Cory Booker was to appoint him to the U.S. Senate. So that's exactly what he did.
What happened exactly?
Booker, of course, took the appointment, very well as he should, by the way. And I think he's been a pretty damn terrific senator. Not perfect, but pretty damn good. And he's been in the Senate ever since. So that was a neat one, because I was kind of partially rooting for Booker not to take the appointment, because I wanted to see him beat Chris Christie, which he would have, by the way. But I was but anyway, yeah, I'm digressing. You got a couple minutes left before I need to wrap up. There's a show on after us, so go ahead. Whatever other thoughts you got in your head, empty it out, and we got to wrap up.
I just think that. Well, no, I want to say, the Republican senators that are starting and not just Collins from Maine, but others that I think Gaetz. He wasn't asked to step down, even on the table. I don't think. I think he just did it himself because he realized after talking to the Republican senators under closed doors yesterday, there's at least 5 votes against me. I can't win.
No, I think he desperately is trying to keep that report coming out. That's my opinion. And if he resigns, goes away, and just disappears, he's going to hope that this report goes away. And the reason I think that that's a good possibility is Republicans on the ethics committee already voted not to release the report. Now Gaetz is no longer a member of the House, and he's no longer a potential nominee. Well, I shouldn't say potential. He's no longer the nominee to be Attorney General. His public life at this moment is, for all intent and purpose, over. So I have a feeling that's why that this is supposed to come up for a vote again to release this report. Republicans will vote against releasing it because now they'll just say, well, he's out of the picture. So why do we have to relive all of this? Put the poor women through all of this public. He paid a 17-year-old girl $10,000 for sex because apparently that's the only way Matt Gaetz can get laid, is to pay a teenage girl, an underage girl. Even in the fascist Republic of Florida, it's still illegal to have sex with an underage girl.
And when you're 35 years old and have sex with a 17-year-old girl,
and supposedly engaged.
Yeah, it's it's not like a 20-year-old has a 17-year-old girlfriend and they have consensual sex. It's totally different. You got an adult that's 35 years old, and he's showing pictures to other Republican Congress people.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I had sex with this woman. I had sex with that woman.
Yep.
It's the same bragadon that Trump has done his whole life. The exact same thing. All right, I'll let you go, man, so you can have final words. You and Christine, you have a great Thanksgiving. We're going to have a great Thanksgiving here. And I'll listen to your show, obviously, on Sunday. God bless, bro.
Thanks, my friend. You take care of yourself. Stay healthy. Yeah, we got about 2-3 minutes left before we turn it over to Superflex Party. Look, I hope Ari Melber's right that the Republican senators who informed rather directly and bluntly that informed this incoming Trump administration, you're not getting this guy. He's not worthy of this position. He's not qualified for it, and he's a criminal. And so far, I haven't heard of a single woman in the Senate of either party say that they would support Gaetz. Now, you would think, naturally, Democratic women senators would vote for him, but Republican women senators stood right next to them. Now, not Joni Ernst, of course, and not Marsha Blackburn, because Marsha Blackburn probably busy learning how to spell and say Gaetz. But Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, someone else that I'm forgetting, that I'm a little embarrassed that I'm forgetting, all said the man was sleazy, disgusting, and unqualified. And God bless him for standing up. I hope it's a start of something good. I'm not holding my breath, kids. I'm just not. But I really honestly hope. I'm just not holding my breath. If I were you, I would need her. Billionaire money is still there. There's a lot of speculation when Trump first nominated Gaetz that Gaetz was going to be the sacrificial lamb. Every incoming administration seems to nominate someone that really, really, really pushes the boundaries and becomes the first one to get thrown overboard. Well, it took Gaetz a week to be the first. I hope he's not the last. There's a lot of troubling picks here. Hagseth for Department of Defense, he's accused of sexual assault. Watch Tulsi Gabbard. I've seen a string of national security experts and former FBI officials on not just MSNBC, but other places in print and on TV saying she can't pass a simple background check. She can't pass it. She won't pass it. How are you going to put her in charge of the nation's intelligence when she can't pass a background check? So Gaetz is the first one off the ship. Now, he jumped overboard. He didn't get thrown overboard. Tulsi Gabbard needs to be thrown overboard. None of these picks are going to be any good. They're all going to be terrible for government and terrible for people. But geez, let's not give away the entire intelligence structure to someone who's compromised. For everyone at GCPR, for everyone around the program, George, Lynn, Kristen, Daisy the dog who's freaking out downstairs. She must have to go out. And I'm Jeff Kennedy. Superplex Party comes up immediately following us. Conversations with T. Nathan from 11. Thomas returns tomorrow morning from 8. We see you again Sunday from 6 p.m. We will see you then. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Superplex Party starts